With Eric Jaffe from Integrity Consulting Group was founded in 2007 with the desire to help businesses, churches, and nonprofits improve their business and bottom line through the use of sound leadership practices and the implementation of practical technologies. Eric is passionate about seeing organizations operate at optimum performance by leveraging people, process, and technology in a highly effective manner. And I just found out he's also the pastor for Journey Church. Brian Knight, who we just heard lovely things about, is the SQL Server. He's listed his title, MVP, MCITP, MOU at Noy. Is the co-founder of SQLServerCentral.com, JumpstartTV.com, and was the principal board of directors of the Professional Association for SQL Server, which is known as PASS, P-A-S-S. Brian is a contributing columnist for many industry magazines and websites. He's also co-authored and authored more than 15 technology books. Brian has spoken at dozens of conferences like PASS, SQL Connections, TechEd, and many code camps. And similar to what Doug was talking about on training veterans, he's also training people that don't have jobs to become PC literate so they can become better members of our society. So great work on all that, Brian.
Did you say that was MOU?
I know, give me a mic, and it's a bad thing. And then next to Brian is Rachel Truelove. Yes, you got that right, Rachel Truelove, who's about to celebrate her one-year anniversary, and she said it was the best pickup line she ever had from her husband. Can you imagine? How do you say no to a true love, right? She's been with Pragmatic for 3 years now. Graduated summa cum laude from UF, go Gators. Graduate school in marketing at Emerson University in Boston, and she's still in class in digital marketing down at UF, and actually has a fashion background as well. So welcome, all of you. We're going to lead off with a question that I think is broad in scope, and it's going to be a fun one. And it's really simple. How do you use the various social media platforms differently in your business? And we'll just start with you, Eric.
I guess a question or two first. How many people here might be representing a non-profit or at work in a non-profit? You? Okay, a number of you, good. So I had asked Greg, maybe I know that they have a business event, so I'm going to probably tell you, I'll use the non-profit event for part of what we're doing. So at Journey, we extensively use social media as an opportunity to engage people in the community and inside of our own congregation. So we have found in our case that our website in many ways has become less and less meaningful, especially as you look at the number of web hits that we get as compared to social media hits that we have. So we use various tools that I know will be another question down the road, but we use various tools to help with automating that. So an example would be, in old days, we had an events calendar that might have been part of our website, and then we had an events calendar that might have been on Facebook, and we had to go and update those in both places. We've abandoned the one that is inside of our normal website in favor of a link to our events page on Facebook, because when we post an event there, it immediately goes out to a couple of thousand people automatically, and they're not having to intentionally come out and reach out to it. And then they can share it. We can also promote it through advertising by boosting a post on Facebook as well. So it gives us that one-to-many ratio very easily. We do have to continually be looking at how the dynamic is changing. In our case, I'm talking about a church or a nonprofit to an end user, so Facebook is our primary platform for doing that. But as we reach out to a younger audience, like college age or below, Instagram is more powerful than that. So we even use it during events, we live broadcast all of our events over the internet at the same time. So we use that as an opportunity through scheduling and through people engagement who are within the event to encourage them to either hashtag out and or at the same time tell people to go to the event, and it increases in engagement all the way to another level as well. So social media is vitally important to how we do the things we do as a nonprofit.
Excellent. Thank you. Rachel.
Yeah, actually, I really like what you said about using social media to be able to go to them rather than forcing them to come to you. That's a great metaphor for it. I mean, it's really great to use Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn to integrate it into someone's life and to be a present force there where they don't have to constantly come to your website to see updates. We do that a lot too. We do a lot of training classes. We do a lot of workshops all across the country, Microsoft facilities, and we promote those heavily through things like Twitter, right? Because people all over the country will know, hey, hashtag Pittsburgh, they're going to be right by me. I can go to a class. I don't have to travel to Florida. I don't have to go to workplace. I don't have to do. They're going to be in my neighborhood. So it's a great way for, talking about us, who's based in Florida, to reach out all across the country.
I think personally for us, and I'll take a little different tactic with it. If you look at for our consulting side of our business, we found no better way to really to find new consultants, new professionals than LinkedIn ourselves. So we really treat the different social networks different. Twitter is more for us is more of the rapid kind of rapid fire. We might post 20 tweets a day in some cases. Where Facebook's you're more selective. You're kind of more trying to get that stickiness in Facebook. Where with Twitter, you might just happen to see it and you don't get the person at the right time. You missed it that time. Where Facebook sticks a little bit better, I think, also. For LinkedIn, though, from the professional side, at least in our case, we're able to say, let's go out there. I want to find 2 new developers in the city. I can be very selective searching and find my network, and just for that one case, it's way cheaper than Rust and Monster.com or Dice or those job posting pages. And you're generally getting a better candidate. Also, the quality of the candidate is so much better because they've been endorsed by their friends, and actually you can see exactly what kind of technology they know about, they don't know about. The people endorsed their past experiences. So we've never had a miss by finding a recruit on Facebook.
Should have said that.
Twitter. On the other side of that, on the recruiting side, Facebook's a great source to find out who you're about to hire, whether they be a psycho or other bad things. Like we were about to hire someone today, and sure enough, it had very explicit pictures of them doing certain things that were illegal on their Facebook page. It was spot on. It didn't show up in their background check. It didn't show up in those kind of things, but we never could have found those things if they hadn't been so open on their Facebook.
I didn't know you applied to Pragmatic.
Brian, thanks for the offer. I appreciate that.
It was Ernie and Santa costume.
Oh, yeah.
All those HR problems. But that's different reasons to kind of. So on the Facebook side, it's more finding the character of the person. Where LinkedIn's more of the professional side of it. And Twitter for us is more that emotional, this kind of push all day long.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay. Our next question. What one thing have you done that has created the most user engagement, Eric?
Mark?
Oh.
Question?
No question, sorry.
I didn't hear anybody mention Google Plus or regarding Hangouts or Circles. Is anybody up there using Google Plus?
I'll mention Google Plus.
I know you will, Mark.
I personally, it happens to be my favorite social media platform, frankly, but I've always followed Google very closely. But I think it's kind of Google, this is their third attempt at their social media product. But they've kind of taken the best of Twitter, the best of Skype with the Hangouts, the best of Facebook, and they put together under Google Plus. They got 500 million users already in a very short period of time. And you should have that in your mix. If you don't have it in your mix, you're going to miss a huge social opportunity with Google Plus. And it really ties all your social media pieces together really nicely. Very simple.
We primarily use it for internal collaboration. That's our tool of choice to collaborate with all of our techs that are in the field or in the office. So I do lament one of the things, if we were having a minor presentation, I thought back to when I graduated from high school. For me, it was 1988. I may have had a beeper, and I may, we had to check one voice, mail thing at the house, which was a tape at that time. And in some ways, I long for true unified messaging today because you have to check your text messages, your voicemail at work, your voicemail at home, your Google Plus account, your Facebook, and all of these. And you can usually nicely get them all into one email mailbox, but it's certainly a lament, at the moment.
A lot of exhaustion social networking creates a lot of fatigue. So our party wonders how much longer they can last before people start to kind of fade off. Another one that we use on a regular basis is also Yammer. Yammer is great for internal communication to stop the emails going bantering back and forth. Yammer is free for small companies, but it is much more of an internal. Like what we use it for is to stop the flood of emails that come out. So rather than say, hey, I'm going to go to this restaurant. What do you think? And you have like 30 emails going back and forth about what people think. You can post a topic out there, and all your internal folks will respond to it, and you get like a digest form. You get one email from it that says, here's our answer, or poll, or whatever.
So when other people engage with that, they all end up in the same Yammer bucket?
Right, exactly.
Essentially?
Is it's also really great for file sharing internally as well. We work heavily with Microsoft, and anytime we have a partner meeting with them, they put all the files on Yammer. It's instantly there for you to go ahead and pull it down.
Discuss it and all that.
Thank you for the question. Yes,
Is
Carol.
Yammer like I am, basically?
It's more like a
I mean,
private
does it pop up on the
Facebook.
screen, on your computer screen? Is that,
It can show up that
or
way.
your
And
phone?
it's much more like a private Facebook that happens to have chat, happens all those things as well. But the goal of Yammer is to prevent the email fatigue people get.
Excellent feedback. All right, back to, did that help on Google Plus? Thank you. That's a great question, by the way. Well, one thing have you done to create the most user engagement? Eric.
I would say event for us. Again, thinking in the nonprofit sense and not business right now. We're an event-driven medium for what we do, and using the event calendar on Facebook and then tying it in with auto updates and getting people to share it, and then so it's really three ways. We get people to share it, we post it and promote it, and then we'll often boost the post as well to get maximum engagement to that particular event. So
Explain the Boost real quick to the people that may not know.
Boost is paid advertising on Facebook. They call it boosting your post, and we found it very effective. We say even on a like mechanism to boost our page for getting page likes. Within a very short period of time, we added about 500 likes using that method. Within maybe a month's period of time, spending on average maybe $20 to $25 a day to do so.
And it costs about $5 to boost. Is that?
It varies depending on what market penetration you want to get.
Oh, okay.
The crazy good thing about that, Eric, also is you're being very specific. Like you have a church in this certain district, and you want these kind of people. You can get 20 to 25-year-olds from my youth program that like a certain page. You can get very, very specific, but you can't do that on any of their websites.
And my only other comment would be social media in and of itself is not a panacea. So like say we're promoting right now our spring getting ready for Easter. We have a billboard on 295 that works in conjunction with the same promotion on Facebook in conjunction with handout cards that we're using. So we can currently put all those medium together to hit people wherever they're at.
Rachel, what one thing did you do to get the most social engagement?
I might have a different answer than Brian.
A little closer.
You do, yes.
But from a marketing standpoint, one of the greatest things that we've done recently has been promoting our videos and trainings and webinars through YouTube. YouTube has been a great platform for us. We do webinars bi-weekly, so every Tuesday and Thursday at 11, and they are our #1 lead source for net new contacts. And they're free training, and they get between 300 and 800 people in them per session. So it's a huge amount of people we get from these sessions, and they're an hour long. So what we found has been really effective that we've implemented within this past year has been cutting previews of them, sneak previews of them, to 2 minutes, and we post them on YouTube. And the ones that we do that for get huge numbers in their attention. So see a sneak preview of this, go to this link, visit our website and register for the actual session, and you can get an hour-long training on this topic. We also post task recordings on it, so if they missed it or if they are interested in a topic that's going to be available, they can go to our website via that, and YouTube is just a great resource. Everyone does these videos. That's been hugely beneficial for us.
Okay, it's the #2 search engine on the planet, folks. YouTube is amazing, right?
Yeah, it's our #1, it's actually our #2 source for website visitors right now also.
Interesting.
Yeah, that actually led to about 300,000 leads coming through our pipeline over the past few years, about 5 years or so at this point. So you definitely, it's that you give a lot sometimes to get those leads, and sharing what your knowledge is in the industry is definitely a good way of doing it. The other one, you mentioned the stickiness of Facebook. Really, beyond the original question was how do you get more visitors? Is that kind of
One that creates the most user engagement.
other than visitors and earning on your site? Okay, well,
That gets knowing people.
Beyond that, we try to find some kind of stick to make that sticky on Facebook that gets people to kind of share and hopefully get that. That's like the dream for anybody that's opening up a presence in Facebook is to kind of get that one sticky kind of thing. So we had some mildly inappropriate things we put out there that were kind of they're humorous, right? But the goal was to get that kind of that spreading out motion. That actually triggered a whole bunch of people that shared. We saw 15 levels of sharing that we all came down to it for one person. So creating things that are more comical, things that are even infographics are always a great way to do it. There's some great websites you can find that create infographics. And infographics, in case you're curious, are like pages like this where it shows big graphics that communicate a message. Number of people that do this and buy that. And it's a great way to kind of get people that like you to share with them. You'll get with this.
Also, free training. I mean, that has just been the hugest thing for us to share via any social media platform. To engage them with free training and get them involved. Free training.
And to complement what they were saying, at a basic level, you must have images or videos to increase engagement of a post. We do the same thing where we created a consolidated YouTube. YouTube is the underlying engine that runs it, but all of the training that we do internally, we created journeyuniversity.org, and we post every single training so that if any of our leadership teams need to grow in an area, it's all out there, all fueled and powered by YouTube. But we also use collaboration tools underlying so that we post it on Vimeo and YouTube and all the different video social media sites concurrently as well. So you just got to hit every avenue, and automation really helps with that.
I saw a Facebook post last week that had 9,000 comments on it. And all it was guess how many M&Ms are in this jar and you'll win this prize. What a simple promotion. 9,000 comments out of a jar of M&Ms. Merry Christmas. I'll give you that one, Brian. All right. Okay. How do you calculate ROI on social media? Pastor?
I'm probably not that sophisticated, and I know these are the data analytics guys over here, so they'll probably have more, but we just see it as one of many forms of communication that we use. We don't rely solely on it. We have many ways in which we're touching people, so for us, it's not a perfect science.
Okay. Rachel?
One of the main ways that I think a lot of companies, and that's included, measure ROI from it is website visitors, right? How many websites can you track from that form of social media? How many people are bouncing from that to your direct page to see all of your offerings? That's a huge way we measure ROI. And we use another platform, which I think is going to come up later. It's called Act-On. And through that platform, we can track actual, how much revenue we generated from these services, right? So this person came to us through Facebook, and in turn bought XXX, and we can actually track how much monetary gains we're getting from these platforms, which is hugely beneficial for us.
And the other thing, the other kind of soft way that Kathy mentioned as well is number of, in this case, our process is cheeks in the seats, right? So how many people can we get, or salespeople can call? In your case, of course, it's cheeks in the seats, congregation growing. For us, we quantify how much it costs us to get a lead. And then if I'm able to get a lead from Facebook or from Google, and how much Google costs me, because I actually pay a dollar figure, but Facebook's not software. So we have a dedicated person now dedicated to social networking.
And the product that Rachel just mentioned, in case you didn't, is called Act-On. It's not inexpensive, but it's certainly very well worth the money, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not with them. What automation tools do you use, if any, for social media?
The primary one we use from a cheap perspective is called Hootsuite, and very good. We can say you have a recurring monthly event like this one, you can actually create, say, an Excel template with it and vary the language in it to help promote it in a variety of different ways, import that into Hootsuite, and then every day or whatever interval you want, it'll go out there on your behalf and remind people about that event. So very simple tool to use. You can log into a variety of social media at the same time. So you could have it post on LinkedIn, Facebook, Google+, you name it all at one time, and you go out there and program it, and it does all the work for you. It's a beautiful thing.
It is, and it's very inexpensive.
It's like $10 a month. So.
Rachel?
Well, I mentioned Act-On. That's a platform that we currently use, and I personally, from a marketing perspective, love it. You gain great insights into, like I said, tracking not only net new contacts, but revenue generated from a completely huge variety of sources. So most websites have some sort of form on them that you can complete to get X results, to get a salesperson to call you or download something. All of our forums are hosted in Act-On, so anybody who fills them out, we can see tracking analytics for everything. And it goes across the board. So every activity they've done on our website tracks through that person to a very granular level. And it's really beneficial for us. Our sales team is hugely beneficial for them as well. And it integrates through every form of social media too. So it's a one-stop shop. So you don't have to visit Twitter and Facebook. You can do postings across the board, and you can see every activity they've done within this one platform, which is great.
Yeah, for us, Act-On, she mentioned, is not the only one out there. There's lots of competitors for it. One of the biggest ones, HubSpot. There's other ones out there as well. But the cool thing about it that I think is the best thing about one of those automation platforms is, as Rachel said, once they visit the webpage the first time, as you fill the first form out, it does a little bit of essay work for you. So it puts a little cookie on the machine, a little tracking device on the machine that kind of, every time they visit your page, it flips the switch again and says, oh, here's the top 3 things that you've done on our website, and you want to do this also. It might make recommendations. But one of the neat things I love about it is a salesperson then can put certain web pages and put alerts on it. So when they visit our pricing page, in our example, the customer is actively interested in getting a pricing quote potentially at that point. They're a hot lead at that point. So Act On and all the other suites out there like it will score the customers based on what they do on their site, what they do on Facebook, what they do on here and there, and it kind of gives you a big lead. We mentioned 300,000 leads. We have 20 sales guys. There's no way that 20 sales guys can chase 300,000 leads. So they see in the morning, they see a report that shows all their leads, and it ranks them by their score from Act On or from HubSpot or whatever. So if they have gone to webinar and then registered for the webinar and actually attended the webinar, each amount of those are a certain amount of points. And so it puts the best leads up top. Still not chasing junk every day. But the pricing page and those things trigger unique emails to a salesperson also, and you can define that. So they watch this one white paper, for example, you created on a certain thing, and that can trigger some kind of email. Now they won't call, of course, and be creepy and say, I saw you went on that page. But it puts a task in their system to say follow up within 24 hours, 40 hours. They'll make some excuse to call them something else, and then they're under deep instruction never to say I saw you visit our website. But it's just stuff out there.
But if I might flip the hat for a minute again, I don't want to, I guess I always like to caution that social media is not a panacea. If I flip the hat off of Journey for a minute onto Integrity, our primary business is IT service and support. We've attempted to use Facebook to let the word out about the good things that we're doing, and maybe it does build some brand recognition, but I've got 0 leads from Facebook. I've got nothing. We do use LinkedIn and have seen great tools for hiring and getting engineers and that methodology. But again, in that particular business, I haven't had a great deal of success using social media to tip the hat to the chamber. That face-to-face meeting sometimes is still the best thing, and getting out there and interacting in a networking sense one-on-one where you meet people, they know your face, and do it. So I really do see it as a complementary thing where you got to work all these things together for a small business.
That's great feedback there.
Yeah, on the Facebook side, we also use it for humanizing the company. So as you kind of mentioned, the church, almost a church type thing, where we cover our, we took the developers out to a venture landing this weekend. So we got all the pictures out there of that, trying to humanize the company. So if somebody is interested in joining the company, does their research, can see the more human side of the element.
Great feedback. Okay, our final question. What are some of the things you would encourage?
Question over here.
Sorry.
So is it still okay to talk to people?
I said no earlier. I was going to wait till the end. By the way, I wasn't clear about that. Forgive me. But go ahead, John.
No.
I really don't mind.
I just wanted to verify that. I love that.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, last official question. Were you having fun yet? Okay. What are some of the things you would encourage business owners or operators to do if they wish to maximize their business opportunities through the use of social media?
I think we've talked about these.
Yeah, we've been all around that.
I think it's having a mission, knowing what you really want to accomplish out of it, and looking at each of the social media platforms and saying, this is my goal here, this is my goal here. For Twitter, for example, which I remember 5 years ago when Twitter first came out, I could not figure out why the world would go on Twitter. But now, over time, you really see why. We do get a fair amount of people that communicate with us that way. But I think knowing that, okay, Twitter, I'm going to use it to push events. I'm going to use it to do this. But if I was, Avon ladies over here earlier. You guys do a lot of that. I was looking at Facebook, for example, or Instagram, those kind of places. A great purpose for that would be before-after pictures. Right, you go and you show those. Those are hugely. Those get a lot of shareability, right? Our photographer posted something for my kids. Posted something on Facebook with all the kind of mini version of the album that they were going to send us, and all of my, of course, shared it with all of my family, which immediately got the stickiness, and they shared it and so on. One of the neat things we did over stickers recently that had our company logo on it and all that. And one thing they did on Twitter I thought was really interesting is they took a picture of the box that the stickers were going to come in, with the wrapping and all that. And they said, it's on its way. They tweeted it to us. and then we immediately shared it with our valued people. So there really is a whole bunch of adventurous ways you can try it. I think it's a matter of knowing your mission on each of those platforms.
I think the real key there that you brought up is that you've made a plan, a social media plan that was probably very rough in nature to begin with, and through time you've been able to hone it down and work that plan to the different platforms that works best for you.
Right.
Sound
And
reasonable?
that never goes while you're under the influence of any alcohol and
To compliment what he said, my daughter, understanding the market, like business to consumer and Facebook being a great medium for that, my daughter just got her career started as a hairdresser, so she did exactly what he said. She was in there and she started posting before and after pics of the people's hair, and when I went in to get my hair cut, I posted the selfie, so to speak, of the thing to help promote it for her, so I don't have to give her money at some point in life. That'd be great. And it worked very quickly for her to build a book of business because everybody saw that was already in our sphere of influence, and it made it where she got business quick. So understanding who you're trying to reach is just an imperative in which tool you choose to use.
Great feedback. Rachel?
I'd also say one thing I would really, really recommend in addition to, the importance of knowing your market for each social media platform would be consistency. Like, you can't just do it, once a month. You've got to keep doing it consistently. It's important to get your brand out there at least once a week, if not more. You've got to be visible. If you're not doing it regularly, they're going to forget about you. So being consistent is something I would highly, highly recommend for anybody on any social media platform.
Great feedback. Mr. Cantrell?
Is there an amount that, like a car dealer or an Avon person or any business where you just continue to see these postings from that business on your Facebook page? And I primarily use my Facebook with my church and my friends. And I'm like, I don't want to see these ads. Is that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's why it's important to know your market, right? So like Brian mentioned earlier, Facebook, you can do it once a week. You can do it not as regularly. Twitter is a free-for-all, right? So you can tweet as many times as you want because there's so many postings. You're not going to be the only one bookmarking people. You're just going to be part of the crowd. You're going to be going with the flow in that case. But it is really important to know your market. I agree with you. Overposting on things like Facebook that people primarily use for personal social activities, it can hurt you. Yeah, it can hurt you more than help you. Yeah.
And a good time to post also, in case, I was in a study recently that showed you get 40% more responses than posting. Guess what time do you think, Mark? What is your curiosity?
I would say posting in the evening would be pretty hot.
I never would have guessed that. I was thinking, sometime during the business day, but actually 6 to 8.
6 to 8 p.m. is the sweet spot.
Yeah.
So your people at Pragmatic are not...
We are messing up.
No, but so have you encouraged your people to go and post during those times then, though, since you found that out?
Well, that's the automation tools you mentioned, like Eric mentioned Hootsuite. You can schedule those times and have it automatically trickle that out there for you.
And I think, what was the reason behind the 6 to 8? That's when they get off work or something?
People are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing their work and not on Facebook.
Exactly. Anytime you do an event around JD, he's always taking pictures of it, he's always posting it to Facebook, and he's always tagging your name to it. And I was kidding him last week about all that, but it's a great habit that you've gotten into that I think we all should do because it just helps encourage everybody to share that type of stuff. We're about to wrap up here. Anybody else have any other questions? Carol.
I'm highly involved in all social medias and stuff like that, and I'm a job seeker, and I've been trying to utilize my LinkedIn to actually attract businesses to my profile so they can see the recommendations, not just the endorsements, because to me the endorsements really aren't that important to me as the recommendations are, because there has been occasions, and I've been very selective of who my connections are, that I know them or they are people that I have met. But how can you encourage an employer to actually go on my LinkedIn page? Other than seeing who all is employed and making a message and things like that. How could I boost my presence basically on LinkedIn so people can see the talents and expertise that I have?
Is it on your resume also, I assume?
Yes. My resume is actually on there.
Oh, there, gotcha.
Yeah, I have my resume on there. I've got my recommendations on there. I've got my endorsements on there. I've got, it shows that I'm an expert, But that means, what I'm saying. It's just that I have filled out all the things to make sure that I'm there and I'm visible. But how can I...
Well, as an expert, in what field?
No, it actually says on my LinkedIn page,
Oh.
It says the expert that I have utilized all the resources that I possibly could on LinkedIn so people can, view my resume, view my profile, view my recommendations. That's what they classify because of how I've
your
populated
LinkedIn
my
program,
page.
yeah.
So I'm just trying to, how can I boost that out there to encourage people to search for me?
For me, it was if you don't paint the right picture, then Google's going to take care of it for you, and you may not find a way to take care of it for you. So what I had to do first, back in my 10 years ago, 5 years ago, is I had a regular blog, and I would nowadays I put LinkedIn on my LinkedIn profile on there and all that, and then we'd also do free training and free ways of kind of, I try to show as an expert in the field by doing education, so blogging or those kind of things, and then that would link into my other profiles out there.
So maybe I need to send out messages more often, maybe at least once a week, seeking, and listing some of those keywords that are on a lot of job descriptions that will hopefully attract those employers to view my LinkedIn.
Right.
Yeah, I would definitely do it regularly, at least once a week. And also, in addition to posting things like you're currently seeking an XYZ position, I would also, if you have a blog or something like that, or any kind of papers or any kind of quantifiable things that you've done in the industry that you're seeking employment in, post it. You can upload PDFs, you can upload, spreadsheets, you can upload anything. Post evidence of what you've done in that industry would be really helpful too, I would think.
I'm glad Brian brought up blogs real quick. They're very easy to integrate your social media to blogs and to kind of your blog to be your center point to all of that out there. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you all very much for.
Mark, thank you very much for moderating, and thanks again to you guys. Before we wrap this up, a special shout out to Troy at Magnolia Point for hosting this. Just a reminder, we do the Bridge to Bridge the second Wednesday of each month, so the next 2 Wednesdays will be at Island, the next 2 months will be at Island Life Grill, and then 3 months